Let's get ready to rumble!
Hello and welcome to Netflix versus Cinema. And just like the biblical story of the prodigal son, we welcome back our own prodigal son in the shape of Shaun Harris. Shaun, welcome back.
Thanks, guys. It's nice to be back.
Yes, and I might have jumped the gun there because you might be listening to us for the first time and going, who the heck? What is going on? What am I listening to? You're listening to Netflix versus Cinema. And we go to the cinema every week and we watch some things. We stay at home. We watch things on various streaming sites and we weigh them all up and say, where has the money been better spent this week? Now, Shaun, you have come back and you have come back to save cinema because I myself, Tosin, and the other two people on the show, which is Holly and Sharon, who are not around this week, we have been disgraceful in your absence when it comes to cinema. We have hardly seen anything. And Shaun comes back and he's like, boom, I've seen this. I think because, yeah, anyway, all I'm saying is welcome back. Cinema has missed you on this show.
Thank you, and I've missed you too.
Yes, yeah. As I told you earlier today, I always have this feeling that every time you go, because you just come back from a sojourn around, like, East Asia, and every time you go there, I'm thinking, this might be it. We might never see Shaun again. And each time you get, no, I mean, as in, because Shaun will settle over there just in case there's any doubt about what I mean. We might never see Shaun again because Shaun would choose to live there. And every time you come back, I'm like, hey, he's back, yay! And I feel privileged each time you come back. So tell us, in cinema, what is it that you have seen? What is it that you have jumped in and feasted your eyes upon landing off a plane?
Okay, so what it was, actually, it's been in this week. It was The Great Escaper, Michael Caine movie.
Yep. Sharon saw that a couple of weeks back.
Did she do a review?
Yeah, she did a review, but
right,
it'll be good to see what you think.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen or heard that review, so I checked that. I'll give you my idea. I saw Dream Scenario with Nicolas Cage. I went to see that with Happy John.
I want to see that. I'm not sure that's on around me.
Yeah. So, and obviously the Marvels.
Yes.
So.
The Marvels. Yeah, I saw the Marvels because, obviously I don't expect you to have been making the show appointment viewing while you were having fun in East Asia. But obviously in the, I had another kid in the time and I've been trying to figure out how do I still keep going to the cinema and so we figured out this plan. Now that on Mondays, my first daughter does not go to nursery. She doesn't go to nursery, and so she is my responsibility for that day. And I was just kind of like, hang on a second. We just go to the cinema. That'll become a Monday thing. So the Monday, I take my 3-year-old daughter to the cinema every Monday. But it does mean that I can only see films that are rated 12A and below.
Yeah.
so I'm quite happy that I was like, yes, I got to see the Marvels 12A and below. Last week I reviewed Trolls Band Together, Shaun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Was it good? Was it good? I'll have to check out. I'll have to go to the back catalogue.
Go to the back and listen to it. Essentially, let me put it this way: it's good if you have a small child with you. Otherwise, it's no. Let me put it this way, Shaun. I don't think I can't even suggest that you go and watch that film because I think that would just be too mean.
Right. Okay.
I think it would be too mean. There's nothing for you in the film if you don't have a small child with you. I don't think. And as I said in the review, I think that that's fine. So the Marvels. Have you got anything from Netflix and Friends to bring up against that?
I've started a few things, but haven't completed one. I've Gen V. I started, but I haven't finished that. So Gen V, I've seen a few episodes of that. I watched when I was in Vietnam. I watched a couple of sort of Kingdom, which is a zombie one, but I think we reviewed that. We
reviewed Countdown.
I've been watching a few really stuff that we've already watched. I've been doing a bit of rewatching. I've caught. So when I was away, so I've seen a couple of episodes of a thing called Reacher. I've seen a couple of 5 episodes of a thing called Bosch, but I haven't really seen anything sort of all the way through. So movies, what have I seen movie-wise? Basically, nothing really. I mean, I will finish Generation V. I'm hoping to anyway, because I've sort of started that.
Yeah.
Doctor Who. I watched a couple of Doctor Who episodes on on
All right. Oh,
on iPlayer.
all right.
So
Cool. So in that case, what we'll do is. I've seen more than I've had a backlog of things because I've
oh
not been going
great.
to the cinema. I've been holding kids and I've been trying to get them to sleep, so I've been watching stuff while I've been doing it. Especially, I think this is the nice sweet spot where your children haven't started picking up stuff, so they don't understand words yet. So you can watch whatever you want. So you can watch whatever you want because they don't know what it is. Okay. So on Netflix, I have seen an Australian comedy called Fisk. An
Fisk.
Australian comedy called Fisk, and on Amazon Prime, I saw a film called Robots.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Let's be good.
Robots. So we'll bring this to. So let us kick off with the Marvels. So the Marvels. This is I was hearing earlier today is the 33rd movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Wow.
Yeah, they've got to 33, and this film is ostensibly a sequel to Captain Marvel. And this time round, you have Captain Marvel. She's well established. She's out in space somewhere, and you have two other characters who join her. There is Monica Rambeau, who first shows up in WandaVision, who now has superpowers, and there's also Kamala Khan, who is Miss Marvel, who showed up in her own TV show, Miss Marvel. And in this film, they come up with this plot through to various plot things, which actually kind of make sense. They end up with their powers being entangled. So every time two of them, or at least two of them, use their powers at the same time, they swap places. And this comes in the way where so Captain Marvel is using the powers, you have Monica Rambeau using the powers, you have Kamala Khan, and they all decide, okay, fine, we need to figure out what's going on, we need to get together, and then it becomes a team up movie where they team up trying to figure out what's going on. And it turns out that there is a bad, this is where it gets to the point where it's a comic book movie. You don't really need to know this bit, but I'll tell you anyway. There is a bad guy called Darben who is going around and trying to get something because they're trying to reignite something on the Kree home world, and that is the propulsion of the plot. It's trying to figure out what Darben is doing, trying to stop her doing it, and at the same time bringing these three people together. And that's basically it. So, Shaun, I know that the first Captain Marvel, you were not so hot on it.
No.
You're not so hot on the first Captain Marvel. What did you think about this one?
Okay. Well, for me, I mean, the thing is that I think the biggest thing I picked up on it for me was that the inconsistency thing. Because if you think Avengers, the end game one,
Yes.
she's like super powerful, just like so incredibly powerful that even
Captain Marvel is incredibly powerful, yeah.
Captain Marvel is incredibly powerful, and yet in this she seems and she's very sure of herself in Endgame. In this one, she's very unsure and very vulnerable and I just thought, well, that's a total contradiction to the sort of character that I liked in Endgame, you know. So,
Oh yeah.
And I think, you know, it was a bit like the Vision when the Vision got anyway. But so that was one bit which I found really hard. I would have liked it to be. I mean, I don't think the villain was particularly anything mega special. You know
that is a problem with Marvel. It's a problem with Marvel movies. Marvel movies are known for having weak villains.
Yeah,
they're known for having weak villains. Yeah.
I mean, I think any one of those could have probably defeated her. You know.
well, yeah, yes. I mean, to be honest with you, I think it's one of those things where I remember when they made Batman. Tim Burton made Batman all the way back in 1989. And people used to complain about the Tim Burton Batman movies, that the bad guys were more interesting than Batman, and Batman was just kind of like, there. And I think with Marvel, they sort of swept it around a little bit, especially in this one, where the good guys are quite interesting, and they have quite interesting interplay and interesting motivations and what is going on and everything. I quite like the
interaction.
I love the interaction between the three of them. Between Kamala Khan, Monica Rambeau, and Captain Marvel. Yeah. The interaction between them is probably the strongest point of the film.
I agree with you on that one.
It's a bit like, I remember when the first Avengers came out and there were people saying things like, you'd love to just sit down and watch all these characters just chat because the interaction is really good. And I think they have that going on in this film. Personally speaking, I think this is the funnest Marvel movie for a while.
Well, possibly with Guardians. I thought they were trying to have the Guardians humor in there. There was the humor in there, but I did feel that some of the time they were trying a little bit too hard. Some of the humor was good, but they were like, to me, it felt right. Let's make and I didn't really know what it wanted. To me, this personal thing, I didn't really know what it wanted to be, because it was like, are you going to be a comedy? Is this supposed to be a comedy or serious, or is it? Um, and like the ends, the rescue thing and that, and it just seemed convenient, and I don't know. I
Well,
just thought it didn't know what it wanted to be.
well, the thing is, I, well, okay. Well, it sounds like I like enjoyed this a lot more than you did. I loved this film. I really, really loved this film, and I think because Marvel, ever since Endgame, they've had this problem where they've had a problem, quite frankly, since Endgame. They've had a narrative problem trying to tell stories since Endgame, where it's almost as if you're trying to link everything and trying to say everything is linked to this thing. And don't wait, don't worry, in 5 years' time, guess what's coming? And when I look at the MCU, I think that they started off just making individual films that were almost a little bit throwaway. Like the first Thor is a very slight movie. Iron Man is quite a short movie. This is quite a short movie. I love the fact that this film is only about 100 minutes long.
Yeah, good. That's a good thing. I'm not saying I didn't dislike it. I'm just saying this is just some of the feelings that I feel about it.
I understand that, and I can see what you're saying. I mean, I didn't have those feelings, but I can see why you might have those feelings. And I just thought that they made the film that wasn't, they don't do a lot of trying to link it to a whole bunch of other things.
No,
you could pretty much watch this film standalone. It's just a simple standalone adventure. I loved that. I loved the fact it was a simple standalone adventure. I love the interplay within the character. I think the comedy, like the fact that you have Kamala Khan, and Kamala Khan is like, did you watch the TV show Miss Marvel?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh,
so I mean, that was something perhaps I needed to see. But
well, no,
she is quite. I mean, she's quite a good character.
Yeah, I don't think you need to have seen the TV show.
No,
you don't think I've seen the TV show, but Kamala Khan, because she's a massive Captain Marvel fan, and the fact when she first meets Captain Marvel, her face. I mean, I would think Iman Vellani, who plays her face and everything, and she's just like, oh my god. There's a scene where they figure out that each time they use their powers, they switch, and so they have like a training montage, and there's this scene with the skipping rope, where they do something with the skipping rope, and I loved that so much.
I know that scene. Yeah, that was quite cool.
I love that so much because there was some logic to it. To like, okay, and then the fight scenes where they actually start using like the swapping thing in the fight scenes. I thought that those were really, really well choreographed. There's a bit where they play a song. There's a bit where they play a song over. I don't want to say what the song is or anything like that, but because it will be a spoiler. But Shaun, it's a bit in the space station where the space station is breaking apart and they're trying to leave the space station
with it. Like they're trying to get away. Yeah.
And they play a song. There that is hilarious. It is hilarious, and I felt right because when you say you don't know where it wants to be or anything like that. Marvel, I think, has always been best when it's been like action comedies.
Yeah.
Where the films, like the first Avengers film, it's an apocalyptic world-ending film, but it's actually very funny. And I feel like this for me felt like it got a balance between the comedy and the stuff that's actually happening and all that. I agree that the villain is when I look at the length of the film, I feel like it's almost as if we're like, we don't really have time to focus on the villain. We need to focus on the heroes. So I think the villain is a bit kind of like you could have put anything there. And I think Zoe Ashton, who plays her performance, I'm not too happy about. It's probably one of the weakest things in the film. It's just very, very almost wooden, and look at me doing a mock Shakespeare accent because my planet is dying, and that was
a good impression. That one, we like that.
Actually, the funny thing, Shaun, is as I was doing it, I was thinking, oh my god, this is good. As I was doing it, and it's so the villain. Let's say about the villain, the better. But I just thought that Marvel hasn't got that balance for a while. And they haven't got that balance. It's a simple story. It's a simple, straightforward story. And I think that they keep to it. And I think it's what they should be doing. They should be going back and making simple, standalone stories, a bit like they did with the original Iron Man and everything like that. And then just they will eventually have a way of linking together, and that's cool. But I thought that I thought Teyonah Parris, and also Captain Marvel, because I have to be honest with you, Brie Larson, who plays Captain Marvel, I've never really gelled with the character of Captain Marvel or with the portrayal of Captain Marvel. I feel like it's just been a bit too removed, and I haven't really gelled with that character. I think this is the best that she has been as the character, because it might be some of the stuff that you're talking about where now she's beginning to have a heart, and and they have the whole thing where you have, because she left Monica Rambeau when she was a girl, and Monica Rambeau is like talking about the fact that, look, you left me. And I think that there's a lot of stuff in there that I really like, where she calls her Aunt Carol because she was friends with her mom, and I liked that. I like that, and I like the way they put everything together. I thought there was a good balance in it. I thought Nia DaCosta, who's the director, did really well with it. I understand some of the issues. I know there's some people who have issues with these films, but some of those issues that people are having with the films, I'm just kind of like, why do you hate women?
Is it the same as it's not my issues, is it? It's not.
Oh no, it's
no.
No, your issues make sense.
Right.
your issues,
Thank you.
Your issues make sense. Some of the issues that some of the people have is, it seems like they just don't like the fact that there's women.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell is your problem? But I really, really like this film. I mean, personally, I'd give this film a 4. I think I prefer it to a lot of the recent Marvel outputs. Definitely prefer to Love and Thunder. Definitely prefer to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, but I actually quite like that film.
I like that one. I like that one. I thought that was more sort of credible, should we say, like than some of the other stuff. That was more, you know.
It was more consistent.
More consistent. That's the word.
It was consistent with its own logic, and it's so but apparently there's people who are like, Ant-Man and the Wasp, they hate that film. The Quantum, and I don't understand it, but I just feel like from being a Marvel fanboy, I have been worrying about Marvel and where they're going. I've been thinking that they're making too much stuff. There's too much stuff on the TV. They need to focus on a few things and do those few things well.
I think so. Yeah, they've diverse too much, haven't they? They got their fingers in too many. They're trying to do too many things, like because they got the Loki thing coming out and all that sort of stuff as well.
And the bloody multiverse. Bloody
multiverse, yeah.
I mean, Shaun, you've heard me talk about it. You talk about how much I hate the multiverse.
I know.
I think leave the multiverse alone. Let that thing die. Because but this film actually gave me hope. Made that maybe they will figure this thing out.
What about the post-credit one? Do you think that they might be?
The post-credit one I saw coming from a mile off.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm saying, do you think that's their Marvel thinking of going in that direction of those particular characters?
They were always going to go that way. They were always going to go that way. It was just a question of when they were going to do it. And I mean, and those people who've been following Marvel can probably deduce who shows up in the closing credits. I mean, but I saw that right from the moment because, in all these films, there's always a moment where they go, oh my God, there's this really, really bad thing happening. We have to do this one thing, and we have to do this one thing to fix that whole thing. And the second they said we have to do this one thing, fix that whole thing, I was like, I see exactly where the rest of this film is going. You're going to go in there. And because the film had done a lot to not try and link to a wider
universe,
to a wider universe up to that point, I was fine with it. I was fine with it because I know you're part of the music and you have to do this and everything like that. But so far, you've given me a good film. And even I think the other bit, and I would be interested to see what you thought about this. The other bit that is dividing people is the musical theater planet.
No, Toes. Right. I totally know what I mean by that. That's me, that is. I mean, I go into work sometimes and I actually sing to them. I say, what are you going to do today? And I say, well, sing back to me, and say, oh, I'm going to do this.
So essentially, there's a bit in this film where they go to a planet where everybody communicates on this planet through song and dance. And I loved it.
I actually related to that. I actually really related to that because I do that sometimes. If I like see people, I go in and I sing, and they're like at me, "Why are you singing?" And I say, "Well, why not?" And why don't you sing back? So I know that scene. What, people hated that, did they?
Oh, apparently people are going on about it. People are going on about, oh, that's just silly and everything like that. And I'm like, yeah, it is silly, but it's my kind of silly.
Yeah.
It's my kind of silly. So, all in all, I would give it a 4 out of 5. It gives me hope. It gives me hope that Marvel might not just be going to hell in a handbasket. That they might be able to pull this thing back and get this balance right. Although I do take your point about the inconsistency of the levels of the powers. But that is an age-old comic book problem.
Sure. Yeah, no, I understand that one. Yeah, for me, I mean, don't get me wrong, I didn't dislike the film, and it certainly had good moments. As I say, the biggest issue probably was the inconsistency with the powers, and but I did like the characters. I thought, I agree with a lot of what you say, but there was just a couple of issues. So, I mean, it's a strong 3 stars, but it's not going to quite go to a 4 for me. I didn't totally hate the film, and I didn't dislike the film, and it was okay, but it was just a 3B for me. So 3 stars.
Yeah, but I think for my money, it's definitely it's an improvement, a massive improvement on Captain Marvel. Yeah, I think it's a much better film than Captain Marvel.
Totally, and I agree with you on that, and better than Thor, the latest one. Yeah. I mean,
that was a film that took the snark and took the comedy too far.
That's it.
It was kind of it took the comedy so far that I felt like it didn't have any respect.
That's it.
For what it was supposed to be.
I quite like the family in it. I quite like the because I
Ms. Marvel's family.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord. Ms. Marvel's family, her mom, her dad, and her brother, they are brilliant. If you watch the TV show Ms. Marvel, the family is hilarious. I think the family is good. Yeah, and I thought they were brilliant. They were so brilliant in this film when they came in. Like the bit where her dad is like, because Samuel L. Jackson, whenever we mentioned him, he's in this film, and I think he's actually quite good. Like there's this one scene, it's a tiny bit, but something weird at the beginning of the film, something weird starts happening, and the look on his face, where he doesn't even flinch because he's like Nick Fury. At this stage in his life, he's seen so much weird stuff. He's just kind of like
really nonchalant, isn't he? Plan B.
He's like, okay, cool, this is happening now. Okay, yeah, this is my life. This is what happens. It was good. But yeah, I am not mad with the 3 star, but for me, it's a 4. Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Shall we move on quickly?
Yeah, we better.
Yeah, and now we go into Netflix and Friends, and I'm going to talk about a show on Netflix called Fisk. And this is another slew. All of a sudden, there seems to be a concerted effort to go to Australia and get all the good stuff from Australia and bring it over here. And this is a show, it's a sitcom that is Australian, and it's about a lady called Fisk, and she's a lawyer. She moves from Sydney back to Melbourne. I think that's the way it goes around. She moves from Sydney back to Melbourne because her marriage has recently broken up and everything. They said that she attacked somebody at her job, so she lost her job as a lawyer there, and no one's really ready to sort of employ her. And so she gets a job in this tiny law firm where they need cover because one of the lawyers in that firm, it's a brother and sister run firm. One of the lawyers in that firm has recently been suspended because they did something untoward. So they take her in, but they're the only ones who take her. But they're like, and the woman who's been suspended is like, should we take her? And her brother's like, yeah, I'm sure I'll be fine. Her dad's a chief justice. Imagine we'll have a Fisk on our staff. It's gonna be great. All that kind of stuff. And then they start realizing that she doesn't really have any interpersonal skills. She doesn't have people skills. She's kind of like quite standoffish and she's a bit odd and all that. And it just becomes, it's only 6 episodes, and it just becomes this whole thing where you're just looking at this woman moving back to Melbourne, and it becomes, part of it's an office place comedy, part of it is like the fact that she has to go hang out with her dad, and her dad is a judge who, when her mum died, her dad came out of the closet and then ended up going up with like, essentially like his bailiff in the courtroom. So her dad is in a relationship with his bailiff, in a same-sex relationship with his bailiff. And it's just one of these comedies where you just get to love the characters that are in it. And I think the woman the main character, Fisk, who is played by somebody whose name I will remember because I never heard of her before, an Australian comedian. And Helen Tudor Fisk, I'll find out later. I never heard of her before, but she's really good in playing this character and playing this sort of like, odd out of the thing, but still having like a little bit of heart to it. I love the supporting characters, and I'm getting to that whole problem when it comes to reviewing a comedy that I'm like, it's really hard to review the comedy. But I could say it's really funny, but I can't tell you why it's funny because all I'm going to try and do is try and like repeat all of the jokes, but badly.
I assume it's very character driven then, is it?
It is 100% character driven. Kitty Flanagan plays Helen Tudor Fix, and she wrote it and came up with it and everything, and I think just the way the characters play off each other, and I think it might be I'm sure I know sometimes you like watching shows that come from a point of view that you're not used to, and I feel like sometimes with what they've come up with in Australia and how the way Australians are, it's different from the way people are in England. There's some similarity, but it's different. And I think it's good seeing something like, like the boss who's trying to avoid doing any work, but seeing him as an Australian and seeing the way he brings this sort of Australian point of view of, I'm a lawyer, but what's the big deal? We don't need to do this. And they have all these characters, like they have clients that come into the office, and there's one client that when she comes to the office, they're like, "Oh my God, she's coming! Quick, hide all the silverware, hide your pencils, hide everything."
Oh right, yeah.
I like Helen is like, "Why do we need to hide everything? Why do we need to hide everything?" They're like, "Oh, don't worry, you'll see." And then when they come in, like these people come like, "It's great. Oh, finders keepers," and just keeps taking everything. So I think it's quite good. I think the writing is really good. I think the writing is really good. I think the performances are really good, and I would recommend anybody they're half hours. I have grown to love shows that are very easy to digest and a half hour long. Because you can just get in there, get out. You can do it while you're doing other things. So I would recommend Fisk. I think it's good. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. Okay. It's the kind of show that I watched it on. I always think it's a good sign when you're like, you know what, I would watch more of that. I'll wait until when the next season comes out. I would like to see the next season, and I'd like to see more of it because there's some shows that I've watched, and after the first season, I've gone, nope, I'm not coming back for a second season. Goodbye, I'm done. But this one is definitely one I'm going to be coming back. So that's 4 stars for Fisk.
Cool.
Yeah, and now let's go back to cinema. And Shaun, you're going to talk about what I'm expecting to be one of the weirdest films that we're going to see this year. One of the weirdest films because this seems to be Nicolas Cage in, you know what? I'm going to do something really interesting and weird form.
Yeah.
It seems to be Nicolas Cage going, you know what? Let's do something weird. So tell us about Dream Scenario.
Okay, Dream Scenario. I went to see this with my friend, Happy John. We call him Happy John because he never laughs. And it was, he was laughing his little socks off. He was like, well, we both were. We were both laughing our little socks off. So So, I mean, it's definitely a comedy, but it's weird. Anyway, so basically the story is Nicolas Cage, he plays a professor. He's like a geology professor, but he starts appearing in people's dreams. So all these people, and but he never really does anything. It's just like walks by. So if anything's happening, he just sort of walks by and looks around and all that. So it's just appearing. They go, "Oh, you're famous," and he becomes a bit famous. And then there's someone breaks into his home. There's a bit of a home invasion scene, and anyway, so he decides he signs up with a company, which I think who's the dude who plays and I really liked him in this. Michael Cera, is it Michael Cera? Played Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, Michael Cera.
Sorry, he's like a baseball cap. Well, we can see you
like
up
a marketing guru.
Guru, yeah. So I quite liked his character. But anyway, and he starts to become famous, and people like him, and they get their selfies and all that, and then and there's one scene where, and this was the one that was just hilarious. There's like, obviously, I mean, he's married, but there's one scene where one of the girls in this marketing office says, "Oh, I have these nice, these erotic dreams about you. Could we try and reenact it?" And it is hilarious. It is the most hilarious. Can you stand over? We were like, we were like, there's no nudity or anything like that. But it's just absolutely hilarious because he plays it so sort of deadpan. And anyway, so that scene, I was laughing. Sure. Yeah.
I was just gonna say that what you just said there has already got my toes curling because I can imagine it's hilarious and awkward and so cringe. So cringe.
Yeah. He goes because he's sort of asking, what? He goes, "Oh no, can you go back and stay there a bit more and all that?" And he's like, I don't know. It was just hilarious, and I was laughing for quite a while after that particular scene. We were both. As it was great to like when people are laughing and when John was laughing, that was mate. Anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I think there are fewer things that I think are greater than being in the cinema where a whole bunch of people are laughing at the same time. I think there's a few things, yeah.
That's it. And then anyway, so he's become like a little bit of a celeb and all that. And there's a little side story where someone's plagiarized some of his stuff and then the dreams, as he becomes a bit more sort of thing, the dreams when it appears and they start to become a bit more nefarious and nasty and like you know, bloody and all that. So obviously people like don't like him and all this. And then he comes to class. I go, they're all sort of scared of him. And there's a scene where there's a counsellor talking to the kids, all the students, and saying, "Look, you know, he's really, really nice and all that." And they goes, "What? I'm going to invite him in now." So they're in the gym, like he goes, "I'm going to invite him in," and the character he's got. Anyway, let's just say it's another hilarious scene. Because Nicolas Cage just keeps it super deadpan, you know, and awkward, and you know, no, this real surprise, really, really good, enjoyable film, made me laugh. It was great. And so I would totally give this one a 4-star. And you need to see it, Toes, because I think you might enjoy it.
I tell you, this is a film. When I saw the trailer for it, I was like, it's a kind of high concept stuff that I love. It's a kind of high concept stuff that I'm like,
funny, man. It's funny.
I'm like, this guy starts showing up in people's dreams. What's that going to do? And I'm like, yes. And I'm like straight up going like, this is my kind of stuff. It's my kind of weird. And I will see it eventually, but possibly only when it comes up on TV.
Well, that's it. But I mean, it's going to be, it was hilarious. And even the bits when the start off when he's in the dreams first of all, you know, when there's stuff going on, and he just sort of walks in and, you know, looks at something, totally ignores what's going on. It's just funny. It's just funny. Yeah. So nice big 4-star this one. I enjoyed this.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think I like this stage that Nicolas Cage is in, where he's just doing interesting stuff. Like there was a film that he was in that I never actually reviewed, but I had it on my list to review for ages, but then I just forgot. It's a film called Pig. Where
I've seen that. I've actually seen Pig, where with the one with the truffles, with the truffle hunter, gets robbed.
And I just thought that's really interesting. He's doing interesting, weird stuff. Yeah. Because I think hopefully he's gone over most of his tax issues or the money that he had to pay back or anything. Where he just had to keep working, and now he's actually starting to choose random.
Yeah. I think he might have had something to do with the production of this. I think he might have been the producer or something, maybe, possibly, or some. He certainly had some input.
I wouldn't be surprised, because the thing is that it's made by a first-time filmmaker, and I can imagine that the way this guy got the film made is that he was like, I want to do this really weird film, but this guy starts showing up in dreams, and they're like, what are you on about? It's got Nicolas Cage in it. Yep. We'll sign. So I'd imagine that Nicolas Cage would have had some pull, because he would be like an executive producer or something. Yeah. Because you don't really get weird films like this being made with a cast that you don't really know much about. So I'm looking forward to seeing Dream Scenario. I think it's going to be cool. It seems like it's Nicolas Cage on an adaptation. You remember the film Adaptation?
Adaptation,
yeah, on adaptation form. But I feel like this might be a bit more accessible than adaptation. So, all right, cool. So that is it. Dream Scenario, 4 stars for that. And now we go over to Netflix and Friends. This is going to be on Prime Video, and it's a film called Robots. There's many films called Robots. This is not the animated film with Ewan McGregor voicing a robot. This is actually it's a film that it kicks off, and at the beginning of the film, it talks about how it kicks off with a scene where you have this governor of New Mexico, and he's standing in front of a wall, and he's like, yeah, finally we've done it. We've built a wall to keep the Mexicans out. And we've taken all the Mexicans and we've thrown them back into Mexico. So we've gotten rid of all those illegal immigrants who are in this country. But people are like, well, what are we going to do about the jobs? It's like, don't worry, the Tesla company has built us all these robots that are going to take over all the jobs that we can do. So you have like all these robots who come in and like they clear up all the chairs and they clean up the floors and they take people's kids to school and all that kind of stuff. And then you meet Jack Whitehall. You meet Jack Whitehall's character, and it essentially transpires that this character is a spoiled son of this really, really rich man. Who and what he's done is that he's gone and he's gotten himself an exact robot double that goes around and does all of his work while he sits at home and plays video games. although this is illegal, it's illegal to have an exact robot double that looks like a human being that you get. Robots are supposed to look a certain way so that, you can say that, oh, that's a robot, that's a human. Robot. Yeah. So he's got an exact robot double. And one of the things that he does with the exact robot double is that he sends him out to go meet women. And the robot goes out there and is the perfect gentleman and everything like that, until the women are like, oh, do you want to come back to mine, Charles? Do you want to come back to my house? And the robot would be like, not tonight, tomorrow night. And then, so he goes back home and he says, Charles, I've done it. She's ready for you. And,
wow.
and then Jack
I'd
Whitehall,
like a robot like that.
and then Jack Whitehall goes in there and essentially goes and has, now this, the film does not try and say this behavior is okay, because I know a lot of people are going to have issues with this, because it is not ethical, it is not moral or anything, but this is what the character does. This is what he does. He essentially uses his robot to dupe women into having sex with him. And then one day he goes out himself and goes ice skating, because he goes to the ice skating rink to meet women, because that's where all the that's where where like single women are. So he essentially goes to the ice cream to pray, and then he runs into Shailene Woodley's character, and then he starts doing his whole thing and sending the robot to go on the dates with her and everything, and she's like, oh, look at that, that's a lovely bag. He's like, don't worry, you shall have the bag, and he spends all this money on her until she finally says, yes, I would like you to come over to my place, but come over tomorrow night and all that. Then she goes back home, and then it turns out that she also has a robot double. Right. She also has an illegal robot double, and her thing is that, so he sends the robot double to go on the dates, and then when the women want to have sex with him, he steps in and he has sex with the women. She goes on the dates herself, and she gets all this stuff from the men, and then when the men want to have sex with her, she sends the robot.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And I think that there's something a little bit clever in the fact that the different ways like a man would use this and the woman would use that and everything, and I actually quite like some of the stuff that they did there. But essentially so through the whole machination, something happens, the robots meet each other, the robots fall in love, and the robots decide, we're going to run off to Mexico, because in Mexico there is no law against robots, and robots can live life free. So it becomes this chase where Jack Whitehall and Shailene Woodley's characters, so Charles and Elaine, meet up, and they're trying to stop their robots from running away and doing all this sort of stuff, because if it gets found out that they had this illegal robot doubles, they're going to jail for a long time. So, and that is essentially the film. Then it becomes this sort of like comedy / heist / chase / road movie of trying to figure out, okay, what do we do? How do we get this? All that kind of stuff. And almost a battle of wills between their robot doubles and themselves. That is the film. And I think from what I've just told you, you should know exactly how this film is going. You should know what's going to happen. You should know what's going to... I think it has a little bit of satire at the beginning of the film when he's talking about like a workforce. There's one character who shows up who's obviously a Trump supporter, and he complains. He says, yeah, I voted to kick all those Mexicans out of the country, and then you robots came and took all of our jobs.
Oh, so yeah. There's always got to be one of those.
Yeah, exactly. So he's essentially complaining about the fact that the immigrants were there. Now he's complaining that the robots are there because they took all the jobs that the immigrants had. And it has a little bit of attempts at satire, but quite frankly, it goes for like slapstick screwball comedy and all that. It's all right. It's a 3 out of 5. It's a 3 out of 5, which is exactly, when I saw the trailer, is what I expected it to be. It turned out to be a 3 out of 5. It's distracting enough while you're there trying to sort of like, burp your baby. It's distracting enough to have on in the background. Yeah. The performances, Jack Whitehall is being Jack Whitehall, because that's all he really does play. He only ever plays himself. And I think, as Shailene Woodley, this is the kind of film that you're like, yeah, I can see that she isn't quite the hottest thing in Hollywood anymore. That's why she ended up in this film. But they're okay. They're okay. They're serviceable. They're funny. Paul Rust shows up as well. And Shailene Woodley plays more than 2 characters in this film. And one of the appearances that she has in this film, some people will find it funny. Some people will not find it funny, but it's all right. But it's a 3 out of 5. It's nothing much to write home about, but it's distracting enough. And that's Robots on Prime Video.
All right. Okay.
So 3 stars for Robots. And with that, we have come to the end. This is the first time in ages, Shaun, that we've had 2 films in the cinema. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, hopefully, I've got Napoleon. I've booked myself for Napoleon on Wednesday.
Ooh, Napoleon.
Wednesday, Screen 1. Right in the middle, got my favourite seat, so that's
nice. I'm hoping to go see Wish for next
Oh,
week.
Wish, right? That'd be cool.
Yeah, Wish is the 100th year anniversary of Disney film. Wish with
is that animated? Is that an animated one?
It is an animated one. It's an animated one. Although it's animated, but the animation of it is actually very, very interesting. It's very the way it does. So Shaun, who do you think has won this week? Cinema or Netflix and Friends?
I think it's a draw.
Ooh. Okay, now Shaun, this is the thing. If we had gone with just the ratings that you gave everything, it would be a draw.
Right. Okay.
But because I went a little bit higher on the Marvels than you did, it means that this week's cinema.
Oh, good. Well, that's good. That's good. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where we say Netflix versus cinema. There's no disguise, but we're biased. We want cinema to win.
Yeah.
I think we want cinema to win. When cinema doesn't win, there's loads of times when cinema doesn't win. But each time cinema wins, we're like, yay, we had a good week.
That's it, exactly. The one other thing is, what was Sharon's review of
I was about to come to you to say, what did you think of The Great Escaper?
Yes. Well, I wasn't majorly impressed. I've got to be honest. I was probably disappointed. Michael Caine didn't convince me. I liked his wife, but no, Michael. I thought I know this is all personal, isn't it? But Michael Caine did not convince me that he was a veteran. He probably was, but he did not convince. I wasn't convinced. I didn't particularly like the relationship with his mate that he found on the ship, the drunken ones, and the idea. I don't know. It just didn't for me. It was, it wasn't. I didn't particularly enjoy the film. I found it a little bit false, I think was the word. I didn't think it was. It didn't convince me. He didn't convince me.
No, I think it's funny because was this or was it The Creator? I remember there was a film that Sharon was talking about, and Sharon was saying that she would be interested to see what you thought about it because she said there was a couple of scenes she saw and she was thinking, "Ooh, I wonder what Shaunie's going to think about that." I think Shaunie might not like that, but it's but I think she said that essentially the film that you think it's going to be going in, it ends up not being that film because it looks like the film was almost so sold as, oh, look at this jolly old thing, old man doing something a little bit kooky, escaping his care home and going across the channel on his own and everything for the D-Day. But she says that it ends up being a bit more reflective and sad and talking about what happens when you about aging and growing old and what it meant to actually be in the war and all that kind of stuff. She says that it ends up being more along those lines than just being than just being the sort of like gray pound,
silver dollar, silver dollar.
Look at us, we're old, but we can still do stuff. She says that it doesn't quite do that.
The Creator would be an interesting one because I did have some serious issues with The Creator because I had actually seen The Creator.
I think she said she saw The Creator with you.
That's right.
Together.
I had quite a few issues with The Creator, I'm afraid. But anyway, have you seen it yet, Toast? You seen The Creator?
No. The Creator is one of those that was run about I think it got released run about the time that my daughter got born. So no.
Wow.
just no, I haven't seen. There's just a whole bunch of stuff I haven't seen. So let's see things that we have reviewed. Let's see the Nun 2. So Strays, Blue Beetle, Haunted Mansion, saw none of those. Nun 2 didn't see the Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 didn't see it. The Creator didn't see it. The Great Escaper didn't see it. So there's just a whole bunch of stuff that's been in the cinema in the last 2 months that I have not seen.
Yeah, well, it's tough when you got little ones. It's a tough shout. So you'll have to rely more on the streaming platform and hopefully
more on the streaming platform. As I said, what I'm going at the moment is one film a week. One film a week that is rated 12A or below. So next week is going to be Wish. But the truth is, I don't see that as a hardship.
No. I think it's quite good. I mean, there's quite often there's films which I think I'd like to see that, but it's a I don't want to sit on my own in a cinema full of youngsters. You know what I mean? I'm quite happy to go with someone. I'm happy to go on my own to the cinema, but it just would look a bit odd if I I think it would anyway. You know what I mean?
I understand exactly what you mean. Like,
Yeah.
and I have done that where I've gone to a cinema and it's just a whole bunch of parents there with their
kids,
sort of like under fives, and you can feel people looking at you going, "What the hell is this old man doing?
There? Yeah.
What's this old man doing here watching a film with that's meant for kids?"
Yeah.
But I'm like, "Oh, it's meant for everybody. I can watch it too."
Yeah, for sure.
All right,
then,
cool.
Toast.
Shaun, thank you very much for joining me. Welcome back
fun.
again.
It's been fun. Thank you. Yeah, I enjoyed that. It was nice to have a decent, good conversation. You know what I mean? And I quite like it when we've both seen a film because you can get, different takes on it. And
I agree. Yeah. I think it works quite well when we do that. So it's not just one person saying, "Well, I thought this," and no one's there to argue with me. So I agree with that. All right. So until next week, when we'll see Wish, and we'll bring you
Napoleon.
Yeah, and maybe are you planning to see Killers of the Flower Moon?
I'm hoping to. I hope it's going to still. I haven't looked to see if it's on next week. But if it is, I need to see it. Yeah. Well, if it's still on the cinema next week, I'll make a point of seeing that definitely because we need someone to see that, don't we? Perhaps I'll see if Sharon wants to go see it with me. Maybe do an evening. Yeah,
we'll go see that. I think it would be, especially with your Americana hat on, it would be nice to see what you think about that. Yeah. But in the meantime, if you're listening to this, please do get in touch with us. Netflix vs Cinema on Twitter or X or whatever it is. Netflix vs Cinema on YouTube and on Facebook. Let us know what you thought about the films we spoke. Let us know what films you have seen this week. Let us know what your personal Netflix vs Cinema has been this week because it would be great to hear that. But until that time, thank you so much for joining us. Goodbye.
Thanks, Toes. See you later.
See ya.